Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/prorevenge. So sit back, relax and enjoy some Reddit stories. Luxury car dealership wants to treat customer like dirt, ends up washing his car instead. This isn't my story. It happened to my ex-classmate's dad, but it's too sweet of a story not to share. His dad is a pretty wealthy guy and owns his own construction business. My classmate always showed up in fancy clothes and cars. One day, Dad walks into a car dealership. He was interested in buying a Mercedes G-Wagon. He went inside and was ignored for almost an hour, while other customers were treated. Eventually, a couple of salesmen approached his dad and asked him what he was doing here. His dad starts asking about the cars. The salesmen were very dismissive and sarcastic in response to him. It's clear they aren't taking him seriously and begin to leave. His dad becomes irritated and asks what their problem was. They argue for a minute when the manager comes and tells his dad to leave. Dad had just come home from work and was wearing slightly dirty jeans, boots and a t-shirt. He's also a dark-skinned individual. Both of these factors probably made him look lower class in their eyes. Little did they know, a few weeks later, Dad ends up purchasing the car at another dealership. He negotiated free car washes for life as he traded in one of his luxury cars. Apparently, he was able to go to other dealerships in the area who authorized the same thing regarding car washes. Dad ends up going to the first dealership and throws the keys on the front counter. He demanded a car wash. The same manager eventually came by to object, but Dad showed him all of the paperwork. He looked a bit shocked and begrudgingly got the process started. Dad has been going back almost every day for car washes. He always cheekily smiles at all the staff members with a smug grin as a greeting, especially the two salesmen. They now just hang their head in shame and walk away whenever they see him. Surely the majority of people who are going to be walking into a luxury car dealership are going to be people that are interested in buying and probably have the money to be able to afford it. Don't become irate over $45. I was renting a condo from a guy who at first didn't seem too bad. I am in the military and he was flexible on when I could move in and hours he would show me the place. I was there for about a year and had to break the contract early due to new orders in the military, sending me out of the city I was in, which in the US is mandatory for all landlord/rental agencies. I moved out of the place over a month ago now, and as we agreed upon, he would deduct a cleaning service and the last month's electric bill. So I get about $135 less from my security deposit. No problem. End of story. But this morning, I get a text message from him saying he needs $45 more from last month's bill. I'm at work, so I see and quickly respond that we agreed to the $135 and I'm not just going to give him more. I'm busy at work, mind you, and he gets back to me with screenshots of the invoice for the bills and requests the money on Venmo. About 10 minutes of me not responding because I'm busy, he proceeds to send several text messages saying, "Fine, be that way," and "I should have kept the security deposit UGI blah blah blah." The one text that actually got under my skin was, "I can't wait until companies look up your rental history up. I'm going to strike you for non-payment of last month's rent. That's going on your credit report." All these texts came in under an hour after my first response. Well, once I checked my phone, I was surprised and quickly upset. I'm not a liar and have always paid my debts. So I take my lunch break to send screenshots to the condo board/property agency to report him for harassment. And the woman who was working is amazing. She was disgusted with his attitude and we talk about my stay at the residence. I mentioned the floors were warped and the kitchen was pretty bad in particular. So this is her idea really, but she then emails me the city laws on landlord-tenant relations and building code. So far, I have filed 2 different complaints with the city. One on him as a landlord and human being, and being I'm already out of the area, don't know if it'll go anywhere. That second report is now going to a city inspector to survey the condo on keeping up proper flooring, which, to be honest, I should have reported to someone while I was there, but I'm a busy, easygoing guy who didn't want to take time to start a formal inquiry and have to possibly move out for repairs. He, in all likelihood, will have to replace a good amount of floor space and spend way more money. If someone owes you $45, at least give them a little while to get you the money. It may save you more than just what's owed. I get if he actually was owed $45, but literally giving him 10 minutes and then threatening to ruin his credit report like, "Nah, you deserve revenge, mate." Was 5 minutes worth 30% of your global market? So I used to live in Deutschland, and upon returning to fair Blightly, the UK, I began looking for work. Being a simple man of simple needs, I quickly found employment in the marketing department for a medium-sized industrial manufacturer. It was a little below my experience level and qualifications, but I take what I can get, because I am a simple man. At the final interview, I mentioned it would be top banana if I could arrive 5 minutes early and leave 5 minutes early on most days, so I could catch my train. With a smile, my new boss, hereafter referred to as Mentirosa, said of course, it's only 5 minutes and I'd still be working the full 8 hours. My first day comes and I ride the choo-choo all the way to my new workplace, eager to begin. I quickly learn that the lunchroom is pure stank. Senior staff put their name instead of mine on any trade article I get published, and that our job mostly consists of extorting money from our own sales staff. But that's life. I am a simple man, and so I set about my labours, glad to earn a crust. What really flogged my noggin, however, is La Mentirosa calling me into her office on my second day and telling me I can't leave early again because it's unprofessional. I remind her of the conversation we had, in which she said, with her mouth, the words, "It will be no problem for you to arrive and leave 5 minutes early." She smirks and replies, "Maybe I said that, but is that written in your contract?" Touché, you big old liar, touché. I shrug and get on with life, because that's life. But of course, I start looking for other work. By making me stay the 5 minutes, La Mentirosa makes me miss my train and turns my 2 hours daily commute into a 4-hour one. Niet drug, I do not want this. I am a simple man and need my downtime. About 2 weeks later, the company goes on a firing spree. One of those people fired is me, because I have been quite openly looking for other work. I am given 2 weeks notice and smugly told I am not good enough for this place, and that I will never work in the area again because of La Mentirosa's contacts. As she Snapchats the news to the rest of the team, I joke not, I reflect that she's probably right, as I am a simple man. Among the other victims of the purge is the regional sales manager for Germany. This is more important to the company than my meaningless departure, since the company also decided to end the contract with their biggest German distributor, and so suddenly a huge part of the company's core market is not active and they have no salesman to find them a new distributor. Management panics until La Mentirosa remembers that her despised marketing bandit is a fluent German speaker. And so the fun begins. She asks me to step up to the plate. "Be a buddy, old pal. I didn't mean it when I said you'd never work in this town again." I am a simple man, so rather than point out that I am not being paid anywhere near what I could earn as a translator, rather than remind them that they could have just fired me and I am not their friend anymore, rather than asking, "Is it written in my contract?" and then smirking like an obnoxious dingwall on a high horse made of douche, I instead swallow my pride and agree to help out. It is here that the twin revenges, named inadequacy and abandonment, make their entrance. Firstly, inadequacy. During every conversation, I mention my job title, advertising assistant. When the friendly Teutons politely ask why a lowly assistant is negotiating this kind of deal, I simply explain that the regional manager was let go and there is no formal replacement. This is entirely true, but it is also a huge red flag for any serious company, especially well-established German manufacturing firms. And combined with the temporary uncertainty regarding Brexit, which had been announced only a few days prior, was enough to destroy any interest they had in becoming our next distributor. Secondly, abandonment. As I am a simple man, I forgot to tell La Mentirosa that I had already received and accepted another job offer. She was thrilled at the praises she was getting from management for finding a stopgap solution to the catastrophic damage that they had done themselves, and she asked me if I could stay on with the company until I secured them a new distributor. Since I obviously had nothing better to do with my time, being fired and all, I assured her there would be no hard feelings over my firing, and that I would stay to help as long as I could. On the day I was originally due to leave, I held my calls, drew up a summary of where we stood, it was effectively a sad emoji followed by a poop emoji, handed it to La Mentirosa, and explained I was leaving to enjoy a week of holiday, followed by starting a new job in a different field. She sputtered. She couldn't believe it. She thought I would stay longer to help clean up the mess. They still had no distributor and no sales manager for Germany. They were hemorrhaging money. She called me out, reminding me that I had said I would stay, but I am a simple man, and so my only reply was, "Maybe I said that, but is that written in my contract?" P.S. The company survived. La Mentirosa ended up being let go, and I spent several fantastic years at the new job, so it didn't ruin my career. Imagine firing someone, being so smug over them thinking, oh, I've got so much power over you, and then hiring them back and making them speak a language that you don't understand to people that you seriously rely on. It's just not smart, is it? Try to take away job? Quit in glory. This is the story of my wife getting pro-revenge. At 7 months pregnant, we knew my wife wasn't going to return to work after maternity leave, but she had planned on working right to the day her water broke. A few months before her due date, there was a restructuring of the organization. She actually got a promotion and a small raise, but her new direct manager was at the corporate level and had never treated my wife with respect in her previous role. Over the next few months, as my wife started a very major project, she kept detailed notes of everything to make sure there was a smooth transition when she went out on leave. At this same time, her new boss started being excessive with micromanaging. It finally got to the point that the director, we'll call Patrice, because goddamn Patrice, started slowly pulling responsibilities away from my wife. To us, it looked like she was trying to position my wife's role to be eliminated when she was on leave. By law, they only had to have a comparable role when she came back, not the exact same position. It finally reached a head when Patrice called my wife into HR to formally reprimand her. Allegations included bad attitude, unprofessional conduct, and outright lying to co-workers. After talking it over, my wife and I decided to say screw them, and she gave her 1 week notice the next day. Stuff hit the fan, and there was a lot of questions, especially from co-workers and management above Patrice. My wife just said that with her upcoming leave, she felt it best to exit now. Then there was the transition meeting. She called in Patrice, her co-workers, her leadership, and the vendor that was involved in the project. During that meeting, my wife went through all the project plans to date, with a very specific timeline of the project. This timeline included things like notes from previous meetings of what was stated, validation emails from Patrice, and requests for meetings to which Patrice declined or simply no-showed. There was the introduction of the new processes that Patrice put into place, which proved to drastically delay many checkpoints. My wife told me that after the showing, the third example of late delivery due to Patrice's lack of response, or sudden need to include her friends in the project for feedback, it was apparent to everyone in the room that Patrice was the reason that everything was running behind schedule and over cost. The last slide my wife presented was the last update, the official complaints Patrice had filed with HR with refuting evidence. My wife told me that Patrice was equally furious and embarrassed, and leadership decided to pull the project from her. My wife left her contact info and let them know she would be available for consulting at competitive rates, finished her 1-week notice and left. What a way to go out. The best revenge right there is the PowerPoint presentation revenge. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like, and if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.